As we jump on to the map, Tiberium Gardens 5, you may have recognized this map from a time long ago. But of course, it does have this very dramatic lighting, which I always love, but I also know that the video compression on Twitch and YouTube just this into the ground. There are no pixels left with this lighting, so I love seeing it, but people always complain because it's incredibly difficult to see sometimes, and I understand, but let's jump into introducing these players. Playing the GDI, this is Quarter 4 Profit, or Quarter 4 Profit is what I think he's actually named. But I like the idea that he's also he's a fitness guru. He's like always going for that next quarter of professional fitness. Anyways, playing the green screen, this is edface. Continuing our way around the clock face, playing the blue GDI, actually Steel Talons. This is Spoonyboi. Playing the orange nod, it is N&KI. And playing the purple screen, this is Outlaw number 1, who for I don't know, a long time called Outlawn R1 because I just read his name wrong, and it never occurred to me that this guy wasn't talking about lawns and gardens, and instead he was calling himself the number 1 outlaw. Never occurred to me. And then someone in the comments pointed it out and was like, oh, yeah, that's it. All right, well, 5-player FFA, Tiberium Gardens, I don't know. It's an asymmetrical map. Everyone has 4 Tiberium fields, 4 green Tiberium fields to work with. It is a lot of cash on this map, and it very much depends on where you spawn as far as how easy all of that Tiberium is to harvest. I always liked this spawning location in the south here, but I guess the one in the north is also pretty good. It's I think it's really just this one is the awkward one because of how narrow it is. And, like, you're not really going to build anything back here, which means the trip for your harvesters to the refineries here, even if you have 3 or 4 refineries packed into this space, it's such a long drive to get to this Tiberium. Whereas, you can drop a refinery here, you can drop refineries along this edge, and you can split refineries there amongst these other locations. But that left spawn always feels like the worst one. And the other spawns are all close enough to being equal with each other. Even this harvester, yeah, Outlaw number 1 has moved his MCV, and now he can deploy a refinery over here. But for this start, he just has such a long drive time for a lot of these harvesters for, well, really just for one of those harvesters. And then the rest of the harvesters will have a long drive time as the Tiberium gets all harvested up, and they go for further and further locations. That is a Steel Talons that you spy. Spoonyboi playing Steel Talons, and I actually didn't check. I'm 99% sure this is 1.02 plus R19J, but I'm not 100% sure. If this ends up not being a 1.02 plus, then he is at a huge disadvantage. Spoonyboi is going to do terribly in this game, most likely. Everyone else playing Vanilla Nod, Vanilla GDI. It's good in the original version of the game, and it's also good in 1.02 plus. You've got 2 Scrin boys going for, at least one of them going for that fast tech. Edface going for that fast tech, possibly just racing to an Eradicator Hexapod. He's already got a couple of Corruptors out on the field. He can get those tripods out as well. And everyone playing a fairly passive opening. Everyone is still happy to just sit back and kind of let the game rev up slowly. Occasionally you will see a couple of players rush in these kind of FFA situations. Like, imagine if Spoonyboi just went for an all-out rush versus N&KI. Like, maybe if you're lucky you get the kill on your neighbor, and if you're a relatively close spawn, you can eliminate one of your opponents and then take over their base, and now you have double the income to work with. You have a backup base in case your original main base gets eliminated. You have that extra buffer zone to work with and to not be worried about if your opponents attack you there. But in this case, no one has gone for that. Everyone has gone for just very greedy, macro-oriented openers. And just taking a quick look around at the income per minute. Edface and N&KI are above 10K. Outlaw and Spoonyboi are both around 9K. And funnily enough, Q4 Profit is in last place at only 6K per minute. The guy who opened Kane only built 2 refineries, and those refineries are now in the worst location. If you build the refineries over here, it's going to last a long time. Okay, well, there's good refinery placement right there. But when you build 2 refineries on 1 field, when you've got 3 fields over here, it's just maybe not the best plan you could come up with. And it's MRTs that are airborne. We missed a little bit of the anti-air action as these MRTs, I think, got loaded up with rocket squads and then sent airborne, which is a fantastic thing to watch as an audience member. I love getting to see airborne MRTs with their little flying repair drones, with their rockets inside of them. It's like a poor man's hammerhead, but I'm not sure that it really worked out. There were multiple SAM sites deployed very quickly, and 2 of the flying MRTs got eliminated before anything really even happened in the game. Everyone has sort of powered up. Edface steps out, kills a couple of pit bulls, needs to get something inside of that Eradicator. Shock Troopers is always a classic choice, gives you that anti-air capability. Gives you decent range. If you want maximum damage, but you're okay with the shorter range, then you go with the Descent Squads. And you could also stick a Prodigy or a Mastermind inside of there. No one really sticks anything other than those 2 things. I don't think you can even put buzzers inside of it. That would be funny. Have buzzers. I'm not sure how the attack would work on that, because the buzzers are obviously a melee unit. So that'd be pretty funny to have buzzers inside of there. And, you know, they just, I guess, when you go to crush stuff, it also eliminates all of the infantry extremely quickly. That was like the shortest drive for the Seed Tiberium drop-off. Shortest flight. I guess when you drive in the air, they call that a flight. The shortest flight for a Seed Tiberium drop-off I think I've ever seen. Dude spawned in, dropped the Tiberium, and got out of the map in about 2 seconds total. First super weapon is out. Right around the 14-minute mark, it will be ready to fire off. So we're at 7.5 minutes right now. We've got epic units emerging onto the field. Epic units joining on into the game. Yeah, that Sybert pilot has places to go, says Toy Prince. And yeah, I agree with that. That guy, he was like, They said, hey, we need to drop some Seed Tiberium. And he's like, did they say where? And they're like, you just drop it as quickly as you can and get out. And he's like, okay. Spent 4 seconds existing, and now he's into another dimensional plane. He is somewhere else in the universe. He's not in our mortal realm anymore. One last Tiberium field needs its growth accelerator. Oh, actually, this one needs its growth accelerator as well. He's only growth accelerated half of his Tiberium fields. Ridiculous. Edface, on the other hand... Where's his 4th? Oh, there it is. I was missing that one. He's got growth accelerators on all 4 of his Tiberium fields. Now, the other thing that can be really powerful is Firehawks on this map, because there are... While every player does sort of have a nice back that they can... They have a nice edge that they can work with. No one is going to be backstabbing you. Well, Stratofighter can backstab you. Pretty much no matter where you spawn, there is an opportunity for Stratofighter to come in and blast your base. Edface, I think... Is that his 3rd MCV or his 2nd? I guess that's only his 2nd MCV. So he does now have a backup MCV, which is always good as Scrin, because so often we do see Scrin MCVs get eliminated, and because they have to get built out of the airfield instead of the War Factory, players just don't have an airfield ready to go. But Eradicator Hexapod going to be absorbing lots of damage. I assume there's a Mastermind back at home who will whisk this Eradicator away if he gets too low health. But a second Eradicator, so Outlaw and Edface, both of the Scrin players, are kind of doing the same thing. They're sitting at someone's front door and just farming their units. Q4 Profit is no longer the worst performing player economically. He is at 9K per minute, but Spoonyboi is down at 8.2K per minute. So he's underperforming compared to everyone else. And if Spoonyboi doesn't have a good answer, which he's playing Steel Talons and he hasn't built any behemoths. He has Firehawks, but not behemoths. And I mean, his Firehawks didn't even snipe the drone ship as it was flying in. So I'm not even sure what Spoonyboi is doing with his time and his place. This is a dead Eradicator. If he does not get out of here, he's going to be dead. Shockwave Artillery is going to lock down all of the Corruptors. Gets the Eradicator. Okay, there's the phase. Woo! We did it. We clicked the button that saves our unit. Yeah, I guess he could have squashed all of the Mammoths. That's the only play now. As the Juggernaut moves in and gets the kill on all of the Corruptors, this Eradicator... Oh, man, these guys have lined themselves up for this Eradicator, literally driving into the Eradicator, and they stop moving. No! Run away! Run away! That's not the right way! That's not how you run away! As an Overlord's Wrath gets dropped in just to spawn a fresh Tiberium field into that. And, well, I guess all of those things have died. Orbital Bombardment being used after everything's dead. The Orbital Bombardment gets called in. I'm not sure that that's the best place for it, but there's actually 2 Juggernauts here. There's 4 Juggernauts here that could be pounding away at this Eradicator, just blasting it from behind. But no more. A couple of Obelisks going to be smashing that Harvester. Goodbye to that Harvester. And the Redeemer seems to have saved Spoony, who just left the game. Okay, well, Spoony's gone. Spoonyboi is dead. So whoever that was in chat who was saying they were looking forward to the Steel Talons action, sorry. No longer for you. And then there were 4. Spoonyboi is out of the game, bullied by Edface and by N&KI, just pummeled out of existence. Quarter 4 Prophet is quite possibly the next weakest target. Both of the Scrin players have done a good job of establishing themselves, and then N&KI has the only super weapon that is ready to go. So Rift Generators are extremely powerful super weapons, and Scrin also with the Stasis Shield, with the Phase, with the Wormhole, with the Mothership possibility, has a lot of support powers that can potentially be utilized, but all of those support powers cost something. So you better make sure that you have the bankroll ready to go if you want to use all of those support powers to try and win the game. Whereas the nuke, you know, you pay for it once, and then as long as you keep it alive, and that's laser fenced at least, as long as you keep it alive, you can just keep using it again and again and again. Don't send no! What are you doing? Juggernauts are just being sent to their death. Okay, they do actually dodge almost all of that damage. That was, like, considering how many planetary assault carriers and things were there, that actually went very well. Those Juggernauts should have been dead. But instead, they've all survived. This would be a great spot for a nuke. I'm not actually sure that any of the aircraft would die. I think it would just knock their shields off and part of their health bar. I think they would all survive. So maybe that's actually not a great spot for a nuke. But we'll see. It also kind of depends on what N&KI actually has vision of. Like, he might want to try and... He's got vision of this Eradicator. He might try and shut that down. Well, whatever it is, he's launched his nuke. In the back door of Edface, he nukes a bunch of buildings, knocks down, not the signal transmitter. I think he got the tier 3, a couple of power plants. Yeah, I don't see the tier 3 anywhere in the base. So tier 3, a couple of power plants, maybe a refinery or 2. And N&KI now has to contend with this Scrin force. Edface was already encroaching on the new N&KI territory, which is Spoonyboi's old base. The only player who has lost out in this game so far. N&KI's Harvesters, running out of places to go, have decided to head for Purple's base. Uh-oh, refinery. Refinery, and it's not being sold off immediately. What is the plan? Is there a plan? We're always looking for the mothership. In a big team game like this, we're always on the hunt for a mothership. You need a second signal transmitter, and then you power down your signal transmitter back at home. You call in the mothership, and then you chain onto the high ground through everything else. The shockwave artillery just got called in the north. All of the corruptors get locked down, but this Eradicator Hexbot just keeps winning, just keeps finding more and more targets, more and more units to kill, and it's being healed up all the time. The Firehawks being used, possibly overkilling all of these corruptors, more and more corruptors being eliminated, but that is now a fully heroic Eradicator. He's gone golden in the Skrin way of going violet, and he's also loaded up with shock troopers as well. So he can teleport, he can shoot everything. He's got a massive amount of damage output now that he is fully heroic. And nope, this refinery was just captured just to capture it. The Eradicator Hexbot back up to full health. Q4 profit. Basically, if you're not Nod and you're not Skrin, get out! Get out of the game! We don't want to see you! The Skrin players, oh, is he looking to wormhole the MCV? Yep. He's going to get the MCV. Is he going to pack it up? Or is he just going to use it to steal the GDI technology? He's building with it, so I think he's going to have 2 tech trees. He's going to go for, I guess, 2 Marvs, or a Marv and an Eradicator. Deploys the Storm Column, doesn't want any cranes to be able to make a comeback or anything like that. Oh, there actually is a crane. That is a legitimate possibility. As Q4 Prophet is basically out of this game. He can't really escape in any way. He's got refineries, he's got tech, he's got a way to build, but he's also got $6 grand, but it's just not, not very likely that he's going to be able to do anything with anything. Well, it was a good game for Q4 Prophet. And that's 2 of our players pretty much eliminated from this. Stasis Shield locks down the Redeemer, keeps it in place. The refinery finally gets sold off. Refinery, if you will. And that is it. Q4 Prophet has been defeated. Skrin, Nod. That is what remains. And these beam cannons getting massive damage on these planetary assault carriers, bouncing it off of the Venoms. Not something we see very often in the 1v1, but it's massive here in the FFA. Okay, maybe not massive, as the Redeemer goes down and the Plasma Missile Battery finds the targets, locks down those Venoms. One of the beam cannons goes heroic. He's got that beautiful blue beam to blast these Skrin units, but the Venoms have all gone down. Not all of the Venoms have gone down, actually, as these Mechapeds try to find more and more of these stealthy targets that the Nod player has hidden with his stealthy stealth fields. The tripods have gone down. 1 tripod hobbling away from the front line. Planetary assault carriers still remain, but the Venom is also here with the beam cannons, ready to charge up and blast these packs out of this world. The Obelisks trying desperately to kill off the Mechapeds. It seems like the Obelisk's work is never done. An infinite number of Mechapeds, and the planetary assault carrier will go down. Outlaw number 1 has developed the first Skrin superweapon as these shock troopers get pushed back. But the base has been won. Edface and Outlaw number 1 both have 2 bases under their control. Quite possibly, Outlaw number 1 is in the better position. He has Skrin and GDI tech trees under his control. It is not even, Steel Talons. He's got just vanilla GDI tech under his control. And because he got the MCV, he's got the War Factory as a backup as well. He's just slowly chunking his way through that GDI tech tree. He can make the most of both factions. He's got the best of both worlds, as it were. Although currently, he's going multi-MCV on the GDI side of things as well. Eradicator steps out onto the field. I guess the first Eradicator got eliminated, but not the Eradicator of Outlaw number 1. He's still in this game. And really, I just want to see, you know, Ion Cannon get added in, all of the GDI tech get added in, get a Marv Eradicator Unholy Alliance to join together. Tripod gets crushed. Wow. Well, that's not long for this world as the beam cannons just absolutely blast that Eradicator. What were they thinking with this map even to playtest? I don't know, man. They were just having a good time. They were goofballs having a good time. Mine drop on top of these units, but that is a fully heroic Eradicator that just blasted a nuclear missile, and now they're going to try and escape. They didn't even have a wormhole to escape with. They sent everything over, and then they kept it there. And the beam cannons have found their target. The Venom gets sniped. The beam cannons need a fresh targeting system, and it's going to be an Eradicator Hexpod fully heroic versus heroic beam cannons. And these Venoms, they really need to get into a safe location, but the Venoms keep getting sniped. The Eradicator, desperate to kill off anything that can target it from a distance. Beam cannons, 2 of them heroic, a third one is double vet. They're powering up, they're ready to go, they're sapping the strength from that Eradicator, but the beams aren't translating. They aren't bouncing successfully to actually kill off that Eradicator. There we go. That's some damage. That's what we're looking for. There's not a lot left in N&KI's base, and now he's just targeting the Eradicator Hexpod directly, but that kind of is... that's not a long-term strategy if you don't eliminate the Corruptors first. Planetary Assault Carriers, is he going to go for the MCV? Nope, he's going for the MCV to kill it. I feel like you really should capture something from the Nod tech tree, a War Factory, an MCV, something, and allow Outlaw number 1 to have all 3 tech trees under his control. The beam cannon's bouncing off of 2 Venoms, but there's still Corruptors here, so the Venoms won't, the beam cannons won't necessarily do permanent damage. And a heroic Eradicator wins versus heroic beam cannons, it seems. Even the Corruptors coming to the front line, and N&KI has been defeated. Skrin reigns supreme either way you slice it. It will be the Skrin that walks away with the victory. I don't know what happened here. This is, that's not what you expect to see. As that Harvester has switched sides or something. I don't know. This Harvester is going to give its life. Bye-bye to that Harvester. Didn't even want the Nod tech tree. Yeah. Our hopes are dashed. Uh-oh. I don't think that gives you any build radius. Is he going for the Engineer? What is he going for? The Storm Column is here. He's going to Sense. Are those to absorb shots? Another MCV. I don't know why you grab... I don't know what the plan is here. I don't know why you do this. I guess it doesn't matter. The Buzzer Swarm support power gets called in. The Mastermind goes down. You get vision, but why do you care about having vision of this area? You know, if you're going to wormhole it, okay. But... this is quite an area to try and wormhole. Planetary Assault Carriers on the defense, on the offense. Less than 2 minutes until the Rift Generator is ready to go. The Eradicator Hexapod stepping forward, absorbing a lot of damage. But I'm not sure that this is a winning battle for anyone. This is just a battle that will happen. Someone will lose too much stuff. And I think both players are going to lose out here on this battle. But edface is at 12K per minute. He has a pretty massive income. Outlaw number 1 isn't that far behind at only 10K per minute or 9K per minute. So it really isn't that big of a difference between their economies. But if one of these players loses their entire army, then they may just be out of the game regardless of their income. Eradicator Hexapod, third one is the charm, but it still doesn't work. Edface has lost 3 Eradicator Hexapod, and he's barely gotten anything for them. Outlaw number 1, his Eradicator has been stasised. It's locked in place. It's held away from the battle as the air fleets of both players go at it. They are within 1,000 credits total resources gathered of each other. So up to this point in the game, they have had the same amount of money to build the same kind of an army, but it does seem like Edface is the loser in this fight. Yes, the shard launchers are good, but the Eradicator Hexapod is better. Planetary Assault Carrier versus Planetary Assault Carrier, and Edface sends one forward to be sacrificed. It's going to be Predator tanks and Disintegrators on the ground, fighting it out on the ground with the Eradicator, while the air armadas go at each other. Edface falls to pieces. He's got 14K per minute in income, but unless he's got a mothership trick up his sleeve, I'm not sure that he is going to be able to knock down this army. And a mothership trick would be pretty difficult to pull off against Outlaw. If you kill one of his bases, it's not necessarily the end of the road. There's also a rift generator ready to go, so any army that gets produced by Outlaw could be just instantly denied by, or any army that gets produced by Edface could be instantly denied by Outlaw. The game train welcomes our new alien overlords. Yeah, I mean, what else can you do in the face of such overwhelming power? I guess one thing to do would be to try and snipe either the tech. Oh, yeah, right there. Snipe the tier 3. Either, you know, deny the signal transmitter so that they don't have the wormhole or anything, and then, or deny the tier 3. And that's an option right there. Eradicator Hexapod getting some massive shots onto these Mechapedes. The last Mechapede goes down. Edface has tried and tried again. And, well, it looks like Edface is just about out of options. He does still have 12K per minute in income, but it just doesn't matter. He's starting to float more and more in terms of economy. He doesn't have the production facilities to do anything with it. Yeah, he does have like 8 harvesters working away. And I mean, Outlaw also has basically 10K per minute, but he's spending basically every single dollar that he's got. He's got the production facilities, and even though he's about to win the game, he is not slouching. He is not giving it up. We have seen that sometimes where a player is 98% of the way there to victory, and then they stop macroing. They end up making some clumsy mistakes. They lose a bunch of their army, and then the other player has a chance to come back because the macro has slipped so much. But that's not really happening for Outlaw. He's still producing. Every dollar that comes in gets turned into a unit. Oh, this is the pack. I was like, where's that green pack? This green pack just killed 2 packs. Edface just eliminated 2 planetary assault carriers of Outlaw before finally going down there. So yeah, barring a mothership backdoor sneak attack, which is more and more unlikely every moment that goes by, Edface is out of the game. The army A moves into the base of Edface, and he may be able to win against a couple of these unit groups. That's pretty much going to be it. The only thing that's left is to tag GG. He actually rebuilt his tier 3 tech in his own main base, I guess. The only thing that's left to do is to type GG, and that is pretty much it. Everything goes down. Outlaw number 1 slowly but surely chewing up the entire base of Edface, just going through every single unit and structure one by one. Harvester still working away up to the last moment, but the GG comes out. And edface has been defeated. Outlaw number 1 is your victor. And I mean, he definitely earned that one. Spoonyboi, unfortunately, kind of got double teamed. But Q4 Profit just never powered up. It started with those economic troubles in the beginning for Q4 Profit. He had a weak start to his economy, despite how much cash was in his base. And I think he also opened Kane, but he was on those 2 refineries for so long, and he was just behind from the very beginning. And then that gave an easy punching bag for Outlaw, and he was also able to steal his tech. Although Outlaw never really did anything with his tech. Welcome to Tournament Highlands. Something we don't necessarily get to see a lot of here on the subscriber replay showcase. And we have, spawning on the left side, playing the orange GDI. This is Apollo. Not the real Apollo, but the modern day Apollo, I guess. Meanwhile, on the right side, playing the Nod, this is Dzemi. GDI versus Nod. A very classic faction matchup and a very classic map. Depending on who you ask, some people will tell you, hey, this is a Nod favored map. You got these nice flat open areas. Bike buggy is just so powerful. It's so strong. It's hard to stop. Blah, blah, blah. Maybe that gives Dzemi a bit of an advantage here. But also, of course, we've seen that this map is evenly balanced enough that it is not a free win for Nod. Well, we shall see if the bike buggy is too powerful. Refinery War Factory into the buggy scout for Dzemi. So, wait, what? Grenadiers? Engineer? What is this? Engineer. So he wants the Tib spikes, and he wants to clear out buildings. Wow. This is not the build that I was expecting. So yeah, this gets spotted, but the Grenadiers go into the Hammerhead, and they will actually kill that buggy if the buggy sticks around. They may need to go for repairs. But they're just going to head out. Don't leave the Ox Transport. Uh-oh, that's not good. Well, he's trying to clear out the garrisonable structure and also take both of the Tiberium spikes, which is a perfectly fine goal to go for. Oh, wow, this might be perfect timing. It is absolutely perfect timing. No, the engineer! The engineer doesn't actually survive. And the other engineer needs to get out of that Ox Transport now. It didn't work. The attempt was excellent from Apollo, but it just didn't work out. And I don't even know if that Hammerhead survived. 2 engineers and a rush to air, basically down the drain. The Hammerhead did survive, and he can get the repairs. So we'll see if this Hammerhead ends up being useful. But, that was a very risky build. Oh! Okay. That's a missing MCV. Hello, police. Somebody stole my MCV. Yes, I'm sure I didn't sell it off. Oh, wait, I did sell it off. No, that's exactly what I did because it's a triple war factory all in. Hey, you know how we were talking about bike buggy being really strong on this map? I think it's even stronger when your opponent went for a double engineer Tib Spike Steel airfield rush opening and failed terribly at it. Unfortunately for Apollo, that only could have gone worse in the sense of if he would have died sooner. And he is also saving so many of these bikes and buggies. This is not, send the first couple of bikes and buggies across the map and lose them immediately. This is actually perfect as well because he's just showing 3 bikes and a buggy. That's actually not that many. That's a perfectly normal amount of bikes and buggies to have at this point. And he's selling off the war factories as well. So as his money is getting low, as his income is kind of not able to keep up with production, he is backing off his production. And now he's going to see 4 or 5 buggies, which might tip the hand as far as what's happening. But when he sees all of these bikes, which he probably will, Apollo now knows what is up. This is going to have to be an incredible defense. Behind this, Dzemi has invested a ton of cash. He's behind on the economy. He needs to get the harvester kills, and I think he will be able to. For now, the harvesters have all survived, but the round 2 of the attack bikes should thin out the herd. Right now, the attack bikes are just trading against the pit bulls. I have never seen so many attack bikes not kill any harvesters before in my life. 1 harvester goes down, a 2nd harvester finally gets eliminated, and a 3rd is on its last legs. The shot lands, and the harvester goes down. 3 harvesters have been eliminated, and finally this attack is now worth it. There is a expansion refinery as well, so he could actually sell off this refinery if he needs the cash, and it looks like he will. Apollo actually has 5 grand in the bank, but he doesn't have enough power. Sell off the barracks because it's not doing anything, although the upgraded power plant is about to go down, and it looks like it's lights out and GG for Apollo. Dzemi finds the follow-up to the airfield rush to be a bunch of bikes and a bunch of buggies. And in this case, the bikes and the buggies do look overpowered, but I think it's more because of the builds that were chosen, not because of the map design. Although that definitely didn't hurt in this case. Dzemi gets the win. A well-played follow-up to a very greedy airfield opener by Apollo. Apollo tried something, it didn't work out, and now he is paying the ultimate price for it. What is the plan here, Apollo? He's fighting this out with riflemen as if that is any chance at all to come back in this game. Yes, technically he does have 2 Tiberium spikes. He does have 5 grand in the bank. He can, in theory, make a comeback, but unless your opponent also sold off his own refineries, you're not coming back in this game. For a brief moment there, Apollo had 7+ K per minute of income, but it just wasn't able to be realized. And of course, now he has virtually $0 per minute of income. The attack bikes don't actually have to kill off the pit bull. There are so many targets for that pit bull to chew through that it just doesn't matter. Apollo sticking this one out. I don't know. These guys might be friends. Maybe they're chatting it up. They're talking in game, and that's why Apollo hasn't left. But ordinarily, this would be definitely a point to leave the game. He's not building anything. He's not doing anything. He's just sitting here. And that kind of makes me think that these guys might be friends. Maybe they're chatting it up in-game. Or maybe he's flaming him. Maybe he's just typing angry messages to Dzemi. Or maybe Dzemi is BMing him. I don't know. Anyways, it's finally going to be over. Dzemi gets the win in a very quick 7-minute, 45-second game here on Tournament Highlands. Nice, brief, action-packed. We got to see some strats that we don't normally see. It's been a long time since I've seen the airfield rush. We do see that occasionally. You also see it on Tournament Crater, where the tib spikes are a little bit further from the base as well. You don't really see it as much on something like Tournament Odyssey, where the tib spikes are closer, but you do occasionally see it there. This was a particularly greedy version of it, being that quick. That was before War Factory. That was before anything. Normally, I feel like you see it maybe 3 minutes later, something like that. But that'll do it for that game. All right. Welcome to Forgotten Forest 6. If you're familiar with Forgotten Forest, the 4-player map, then you will be familiar with this, the 6-player variant of that map. We have, spawning on the left side, playing Scrin. This is GB 6111. I don't know, 600-111. GB 6. Playing as the Blackhand, this is Xads. Playing as the Zocom, this is XonURhed. And on the right side of the map, the red team, not quite a perfect split of factions, but playing as the vanilla nod, this is Rogue, the greatest, one of the greatest StarCraft 2 players of all time. Playing as the red GDI, it's Edvin, and playing also as the very pale red, basically pink, Zocom. This is Nova. So Edvin, Nova, Rogue on one side of the map, GB 6000, GB6, Xads, and XonURhed on the other side of the map. And yes, this is the 6-player variant of Forgotten Forest. So it's a little bit bigger, has a couple of extra Tiberium fields on it. You start on this very nice, big Tiberium field. It's almost big enough to be a 3 and 7 field. It might still be a 2 and 5 field. But yeah, you have a lot of Tiberium to start with. And then you've got also kind of equally large expansion fields in the south. A little bit of blue Tiberium to fight over. A gigantic contested field in the south. And another contested field, although it is smaller, contested field in the north. So a decent amount of space, although it can still get quite cramped when you've got all 6 players in the late game with tons of units, you know, all kinds of big armies. It can still get quite cramped, but there is a lot of money on this map. Most of it is green Tiberium, so you don't have those huge spikes in the early game like you do on some of the team games, team maps, big player maps that have, you know, blue Tiberium at the start for the players. You don't necessarily have that huge spike like you do on those maps. You do have an EMP control center, which Team Red has grabbed and Team Blue hasn't. We'll see if that ends up being a thorn in the side of Team Blue. Maybe they will get it eventually. I feel like someone beaconed it a minute ago. Sybert versus Sparty would be great to see again. Yeah, I mean, it's been a little while since Sparty and I have faced off. Every couple of years, we do end up playing some games. Sometimes they are goofy game modes. I think the last time we played it was actually Napoleonic VIP, and then we also played Renegade Wars as well. Although I think we might have been on the same team. But yeah, it's been a little while since Sparty has joined the action. Definitely be good to have him on again. 3 minutes, 40 seconds, basically the first fight of the game. Team Blue is definitely making a rush for the middle of the map. They're kind of just ignoring the southern expansion. You have this little bit of build radius there, but they really are making a rush for the contested fields in the middle of the map. And meanwhile, Team Red has gone for the safer the natural expansions, the safer location for your expansion. EMP locks down the bikes and the buggies. Well, actually, it just gets the buggies. The bikes are safe for now, but that is also a reminder to Team Blue, like, hey, we need to grab this EMP control center. Our opponents just used it, so it's on cooldown for them. Now would be a good time to get it ourselves. And the sneaky engineer, I hope this hammerhead has been set to hold fire stance. You do not want to accidentally give yourself away with something like this. Where's he going? Where's he going? The bike will accidentally attack it, but that still may not notify anyone necessarily. They may not realize it. Is he hunting for the MCV? He is. He's hunting for the MCV. Is he gonna get it? Edvin may have found the perfect spot, and he did. He gets the MCV, and there is the beacon as well. He sells it off. He can use this engineer to potentially grab a harvester as well. He gets it. He gets the refinery and the harvester. A perfect execution there as Rogue is holding on to this center of the map area. He's trying to contest it. Even if he can't really contest it, he would still like to make it annoying for Team Blue to actually hold on to that location and harvest from that field. If you can make it as painful as possible for it, that's good for Team Red. And he's just keeping it, man. He's going to get a full load of green Tiberium out of this as well. He may have lost the hammerhead, but this engineer combo is absolutely paying for itself. He's got a sonic emitter as well. He's got low power mode, but he's got a sonic emitter, and so he's bringing the pain with his static D. It is a 6-player game with a slow start, but now we are ready to explode into action, forcing the sell-off of an operations center, I think, to get the Black Hand squad, and he is just laughing it up as a bunch of riflemen are sent in to deal with this refinery, and it looks like the sonic emitter will go down, causing some real problems on the blue side of the map. It's going to be pit bulls in mass versus bike and buggy. Lots of flat open space. The watchtowers getting in on the action as well. Meanwhile, in the north side of the map, the beam cannons continue to reign supreme, and it's going to be a little bit of scouting courtesy of that decoy army, it seems. The refinery goes down. Not a lot of commitment. I would have liked to see Edvin commit a little bit more into trying to preserve that refinery. Could have dropped down a barracks, could have put some more watchtowers in that location, could have relied on his allies to do a little bit more of the heavy lifting, but it looks like Edvin is going to be going for an ion cannon behind the scenes, so that's also a good thing. Those mortars from the pit bulls landing on 3 bikes at once as the Marv steps out onto the map. The EMP catches a couple of units, and the MCV takes a little bit of damage, but not all that much in the grand scheme of things. It's going to be massive amounts of attack bikes moving in and hunting those pit bulls, but when the attack bikes don't have Tib core, it's so much harder for them to knock down a Marv, knock down an MCV that is unpacked, and it's going to be more up to the beam cannons to burn down the Tier 3, knock down these reactors, and push away this entire front line that GB was going for. GB took this location very early on, and sometimes the difference between winning and losing these big team games is who gets the contested fields, but in this case it's not going to be GB 6001, it is going to be someone else. Rogue perhaps will take it. Meanwhile, in the south, Xads looks for the fight against Nova, but he doesn't actually get the kill on the Marv. For the second time, the Marv has held the line against the Nod GDI aggression. XonURhed and Xads trying to find an angle that works to invade, but at the very least, the blue team has maintained control of this gigantic contested field in the south, and holding on to that may be the key to victory. The war of attrition is not won quickly. It is won slowly over time, and these guys have absolutely insane income. 21K per minute for Xads. Meanwhile, GB 6000 has 7K per minute, but 13 grand in the bank. He is not spending all of his cash efficiently. He is not necessarily participating as much since he lost his production facilities in the middle of the map. And I just realized he didn't have a gravity stabilizer. He lost his MCV, it seems, and he has no way to get back in this game. So he has a portal, he has a warp sphere, and that's kind of it in terms of tech. He can produce what he can produce, nothing more than that. He's sort of out of this game in a lot of senses. Zone troopers inside of these hammerheads. They will have some slingshots to contest with. They will be getting chased away, but GB 6001, he might just be tapping out of this game and handing over all of his cash and his refineries to someone else. Meanwhile, it's going to be a couple of power plants getting targeted. Black Hand Harvester gets eliminated, and more power plants eliminated. I mean, if you can smoke the power plants, then sometimes that's enough to just keep the damage rolling, forcing your opponent to pivot and rebuild power plant after power plant, trying to deploy anti-air defenses. Well, I guess you don't need anti-air defenses when you've got this many attack bikes. That is so many bikes. Xads truly pumping out the tier 1 firepower. He's got the Tib core upgrade as well, which means with this many bikes, they are going to hit like a truck. They are going to smash into any target on the map and basically one-shot it. Not because bikes are amazing or Tib core is a perfect upgrade, but because there are so many bikes on this map, they can just drop in almost on any location and just tear through it. And that's what we're about to see. If they line up with that sonic emitter, it is going to be fireworks that the GDI players will remember, perhaps for all time. But that's a one and done. You don't even need to reload when you've got this many bikes. The EMP lands, and it's on top of the avatars. But that's not the major threat that you need to be worried about as the bikes roll into the base, and the sonic emitters get deployed. The Shatterer gets a money shot off, and a second shot from the sonic emitter lines up a couple of more targets. It's going to be the pit bulls who are on cleanup, and the bikes don't last forever. When you drive into the firepower of GDI, you're not going to last very long, and they drove through the heart of the base. They did not swing around on the outside poking and prodding, but they opened the door for the purifiers to step inside. Xads has found the button that builds purifiers, but he hasn't found the button that makes them shoot purifying flame, and so he looks like a loser with not those blue flames, but with just boring old orange flames burning down these buildings, trying to eliminate this expansion, but doing it without any style points at all. I mean, I get it. Purifying flame costs quite a bit, but it is a 6-player game. It's a 3v3. We deserve the purifying flame, and you deserve to melt your opponent's buildings in less than a second flat. That's a fully heroic bike, and that's a fully dead hammerhead. No one gets the experience for that one. One hammerhead remains, one zone trooper inside of it. The purifiers have been cut down. If only they could burn down those buildings faster, then they wouldn't be losers who had nothing to write home about because they're all dead. It's actually one laser turret versus one purifier, and that's not going to go very well for the laser turret. Zone troopers inside of this hammerhead ranking up slowly but surely, trying to annihilate harvester after harvester. Pit bulls eventually will find their target, and eventually that hammerhead will go down. GB has not given up. He believes in the comeback. He believes in the tier 1 unit. He has got what he has got, and he is going to fight with everything he's got. Actually, no, he's not even using the portal. He could be pumping out 1 million disintegrators along with this army. He's got $3 grand in the bank and not a single disintegrator on the map. And of course, who is surprised by the fact that laser capacitor scorpions and railgun mammoths just eliminate an entire Skrin army with no trouble at all? You may have force fields, but it just doesn't matter. The firepower is too great from this GDI force, from the Nod as well. And I think this is it for GB6000. He has been defeated. It's blue versus red, but it's a 2 versus 3. GB6000, who hasn't been doing very much in the last couple of minutes because he was functionally defeated, even though he was technically still in the game. He is now actually out of the game. I said around the 14-minute mark that ion cannon would be ready to go, and it seems nothing has stopped it, nothing has disturbed it. This is a massive infantry army. It could be lit up in a moment's notice, or it could be the Sonic, it could be the Spectres that do it. It's a big chunk out of the army, and yet somehow all of the Black Hand squads, all of the Black Hand members survived. They've all got rockets next to their health bars, and they've all got 1% health as well. Hey, he did it! Xads did it! He got Purifying Flame! Yay! And this is, you know, a pretty sad state of things. But when you get ion cannoned, your entire infantry army gets ion cannoned, you can't really expect anything else. And they are still holding the line. They just can't really do anything against the Spectres. Redeemer with full health walks away. He could have stomped all over that infantry army. Look at all of those rocket squads. None of them able to shoot up. Not a single one of them able to aim to the sky. That would be the funniest thing. Flamethrowers trying to hit aircraft. This is a lot of Tiberium on the map that is up for grabs. Team Red or Team Blue, someone needs to take over that field. It is a huge amount of Tiberium that is just sitting there doing nothing. Rockets, a couple of them are heroic, chasing down this army. They've got themselves Tiberium field suits. This is like an unholy alliance of Black Hand and and Zocom against GDI, Zocom, Nod. But I'm very excited for these Purifiers to eventually get into a base somewhere, because Xads now has Purifying Flame, and they are just going to melt buildings. EMP lands on top of the Redeemer, on top of the MCV. It unpacks. Laser Fence gets deployed, and this is a lot of Zocom infantry ready to burn this down, but this is a lot of Purifiers ready to go and burn them down. And the infantry don't stand a chance. The MCV survives. The infinite onslaught of Zocom infantry are nothing compared to this Black Hand firepower. Forever they will burn. Forever they will flame down anyone in front of them. The backdoor attack is going to be the Zone Raiders inside of the Hammerheads, Zone Heads, an incredibly powerful combination. And guess what? Avatars don't shoot up. Purifying Flame doesn't work in the sky, and these slingshots don't even have tungsten shells. An upgrade that seems incredibly important at this moment in time. And well, if I have to make a bet on a base race between Purifying Flame avatars and Zone Heads, guess who I'm betting on? It's Purifying Flame time, baby. It is always Purifying Flame time. Xads just torching anything and everything in his path. A beautiful sight to see. Almost as good as a dual beam avatar. One ion cannon blast is good enough for you, and it's good enough for this game, as it looks like Edvin has been defeated. His last structure was that ion cannon control, and everything explodes as Nova leaves the game as well, and Xads has done it. The 2v3, courtesy of Purifying Flame. The true winner was us, because we got to see Purifying Flame Purifiers just burn through an entire base. And that will do it for that game. That will do it for this video. Thank you all very much for watching. And this is Sybert signing out.